Hey everyone. My husband and I we like to travel a lot, and we like to travel through Latin America and Canada and hopefully Asia one of these days. But we do a lot of traveling, and I wanted to share with you some safety advice and like Airbnb tips that we've kind of picked up along the way. I don't think these are super common, but some might be. So I mean, these are just things that with noticed and that my husband and I have noticed that we keep in mind anytime we go out traveling. So hopefully this will be useful to you. So the first thing we like to kind of keep in mind is whatever city we're going to, we consider the inequality status of that city. Like one of our least favorite cities in the whole entire planet so far is New York City. I don't know why people like New York City. The whole entire time I was there, we were stressed. We were like upset with each other because the vibes were just so wrong and it was bothering us. I saw fight. Like I can make a whole story about New York City. But New York City is a great example of the inequality and that what we've noticed from traveling all up and down North America and everything, the more unequal a city is financially, the more crime and things kind of happen because the people who don't have anything will be more desperate and be more willing to do crime, okay? And that's just unfortunately the capitalist society that we work in that we're living in right now. So I think it's super important that you be aware of how is the city inequality like. And one of our least favorite areas to be in any city is the financial district. It's weird because it seems to be a pattern that it's like, even though it has like some of the nicest buildings and like you'll see people in nice suits and everything, but it tends to also be where a lot of the homelessness can be, and a lot of people who are mentally ill and really need help, they tend to kind of hang out in those areas too. So we just try not to be in those areas too much just for our own safety. And yeah, I recommend you do the same. My second tip is in terms of doing Airbnbs versus hotels, we've done both during our time traveling, but we tend to do Airbnbs most of the time because, first of all, we like to do longer term stay. We do a lot slower travel. We're not really moving around week to week, but more like month to month. So Airbnbs offer a much more affordable cost for the month. Like you'll get like a whole, if you book for 28 days, I believe, you'll get like you should be getting a discount for it being monthly. So that ends up working out a lot better. And hotels, the cost add up really fast. And of course, in Airbnbs, you can get a big old home for the whole entire month, and it feels like it's your home as opposed to like a hotel. Like, yes, I really like the cleaning service, but honestly, a lot of the Airbnbs also have cleaning services. It just depends on where you are and what you're doing. But yeah, like it's okay. Like I just really like treating these Airbnbs like my home. So definitely, if you're gonna do longer stays, do Airbnbs. But honestly, we do Airbnbs for shorter stays as well. My third tip here, which is also kind of related to the last tip, never do anything less than 4 stars. And honestly, 4 stars is kind of pushing it. Um, really do 4.5 stars. 4 stars, you really want to be looking, like if you're gonna book something that has 4 stars, you really want to be looking at the reviews. Um, a lot of reviews can be like, if you just see like 1 star and they don't explain anything, then like you can just ignore it. But if you see like repeatedly over and over like a common complaint, for example, one complaint down here in Mexico, in certain cities that we stay, you'll actually have to pay for electricity. So because we're looking at the reviews and we're actually able to like catch these types of things. So yeah, definitely be reading all the reviews. Pay attention for repeating complaints. Those are the most valid ones. And sometimes you'll get reviews that, like, you'll see reviews that are left that might be negative. Just a thing you can do real fast is to click on that person, the reviewer's profile on Airbnb and just make sure like are they getting good reviews from hosts, because you'll be able to see it on their profile. And as long as they're getting like mostly good reviews, then you know that it's like a normal person. Occasionally there are just like problem people on these apps, as you know, as humanity does. So obviously that's just another quick way you can make sure that a complaint is valid. Tip number 4, this is really kind of like 2 tips in one. It's more Airbnb things. You can actually bargain your Airbnb price. I need everybody to know that. You absolutely can bargain your stays, especially if you're staying more like 14 days, 20 days, 28 days, those types of things. You have a lot of bargaining power. I advise you to try to use it. You'd be surprised a lot of times they like a lot of times like Airbnb owners, they like to have the security of knowing like you're gonna be there a whole month. So yeah, you can ask for like a few $100s off and you'd be surprised, you probably will get it. Especially if you have a 5-star like if you're getting great reviews on your end, like as like are the hosts giving you good reviews, that will make your profile look even better and they're going to be more likely to want to host you. And another thing, we discovered this kind of recently. So like it's me and my husband, we always put in 2 guests, but sometimes what I realized is what you should be doing is that you need to be searching with 1 guest. Search with 1 guest. And here's the thing that will happen when you do 2 guests. Sometimes, I don't know who's doing it. I think it's Airbnb that's doing it. They'll add like an extra charge. And it's not even like a small charge. It can be significant. It was like one place we were looking at when we did 1 guest. The difference between 1 guest and 2 guests was $700. $700. And when we asked the host about this, they didn't even really like realize that it was happening or something. That's the vibe we kind of got. I mean, from my understanding, she didn't really understand why it would charge so much more extra. So she didn't care. She knocked that off for us. Like, she just said book 1 of us. And this hasn't just happened this one time. This happened like 2 or 3 times. So definitely do your shopping with 1 guest. And then just make sure, like, reach out to the host before you book, like, and just be like, oh, I noticed that there's this huge price difference. Or even if it's not that huge, if it's like $100, you could probably still try it. And just be like, oh, I noticed that there's this price difference between 1 guest and I would really like to stay with my partner or whatever. And every time I've asked, they've been very understanding and they're just like, yeah, just book for 1. It doesn't really matter that there's 2 of you, because why would it, So, like, I'm not from the city. I'm from the countryside. I'm from the suburbs, like, country suburbs, okay? So, this may be more just, like, a general city rule that we have, but there's safety in numbers, you guys. It's just me and my husband out here. This is especially true, like, if you're a solo traveler, I would recommend, like, that you attach this tip to your brain. Like, I don't know how a normal person would say that, but yeah, basically, I prefer busy streets. I like the main streets. I like streets that have a bunch of street lights on it. I like the ones that you're bumping into people all the time. Why? Because there's safety in numbers, okay? You're way less likely to be getting into like really serious crimes and serious situations and scary situations when there's a ton of people around you. Yes, there might be pickpockets, but that's like really easy. It's honestly really easy to avoid that whole situation. Like, you get the proper purses and all that, but that's a whole other thing. For the most part, any serious crimes are usually done when you're away from the crowds and away from all the witnesses. A thing that I will do is, if I'm especially sketched out in the area, or like, maybe someone I'm getting a bad vibe from somebody, like on the street or something. All I do is just I'll like pick up my pace and pretend to kind of be in a bigger group than I actually am. So I'll be with my husband and we'll just speed up and pretend like the people who are walking in front of us, we're all in a group, sort of, like, just to make it look like we're in like a larger group. And I just feel like, I don't know if it's in my head, but it just makes me feel more comfortable, like less likely for somebody to try to bother me or try to hurt me or do whatever. And I'm so serious about these brighter streets. Like, it's not worth it to me to take a shortcut that might cut out maybe 5 minutes of walking time. Sure, that's great, but I have to walk through the alley. Like, no, I'm not going to do that, and I don't recommend you do it either. Just hang out just be where the people are. I want to be where the people are. Tip number 6: only eat where the locals eat. Okay, I'm in Mexico. I would love to go to Colombia and all these things, like, especially in these, like, I guess you can call them like less developed nations or whatever. Eat where the people eat, specifically those where the locals eat, because first of all, if you see a ton of tourists somewhere that are eating there, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good, especially here in like Mexico. Like, it's going to be overpriced garbage. When if you were following this rule, you would actually eat really delicious food for like half the price. So if it seems super touristy, don't do it. And if there's no one there, definitely don't do it, okay? Because you can get really sick off of some of the way that they prepare the food. I'm in Mexico. They have a whole water situation that's different from the US, where we are from. The water isn't necessarily drinkable, so they have to use specific water when they're preparing the food. If no one is at the restaurant, and if there's no locals there, please do not go and eat there. This tip has saved us over and over and over again. I don't get, and in Mexico, some people will try to like really be pushy to get you to like eat at a certain restaurant. Don't do it. Just say no thank you, move on, smile and be nice, but just say no thank you and move on. And another thing too, this is especially helpful with food trucks down here in Mexico and in Latin America. Food trucks, only go to the food trucks that have a long line filled with a lot of locals. Some of the food trucks here are just absolutely delicious, and they're stupid cheap. If you see a food truck down here in hot Mexico and there's no one there, that food may very well have been sitting there all day. Okay, so please take this rule into consideration for your travel. In terms of money, just keep in mind, like, me and my husband, we only do like longer forms of travel, so month at a time, month to month. In terms of money, we carry around a travel credit card, which I definitely recommend if you're going to be doing a lot of traveling. You can get like serious cash back on it, and it can help self-fund your travels, so definitely get a travel card. But anyway, we have I have a travel credit card, and it has another line on it that my husband will use. So we have 2 different lines, which is great. Because the other day, my other number got, like, I don't know, but somebody back in the States took it and did some fraud stuff, and it was a whole adventure. But basically, I have to get a new card. But this is why I recommend my next tip, my 7th tip, I think. I recommend you bring multiple credit cards. Multiple lines are great, or even better. It was free for us. I don't know if it's always free, but it was free for us to just add another line. So I really don't see why you wouldn't. And it really saves us here. because they had to cut that line, but we still had access to the credit line because we had two lines. So yeah, so we have two of the same travel credit cards on one line, and we only walk around with one of them. We don't carry both of them. We just have one that we use every day, and then the other one is a backup, just in case something crazy happens, just like something crazy did happen very recently for me. Also, we keep less than $20 cash on us. In Mexico, where I'm at, we don't really use a lot of cash. Like, you'd be surprised. Like at least I was pretty surprised. Like, I thought they used a lot more cash, but no, a lot of them just use card and stuff. So yeah, you can really get away with just having like $20 on you, but we only keep $20 cash on us at most. At most, a lot of times we don't even have cash on us. But if you do have the need to carry around more cash on you, or you're in a country where you need to have more cash than that on you, a tip that I saw that we don't really use because we don't really need it, but a tip that I did see is that people will separate the cash on different parts of their body. So like they put like a 10 in their shoe, one shoe, and then $10 in another shoe. Keep $5 in their purse, and like maybe 20 in your bra. Like, they'll do that, and I thought it was pretty smart. So that's a tip if you need to carry like lots and lots of money on you. And please don't carry around your debit card ever. And this is even true if you're at home in the States or wherever you're from. Like, why are you carrying around your debit card? Like, don't do that. I would not carry around my debit card. Well, I just don't see the need to use my debit card anywhere because that's a whole pain. If something goes wrong, like I mentioned, something went wrong for me very recently. The debit card, you can't. It's like a whole fiasco to fix. But my credit card, the other day, I just called them and they filled it out. They gave me back my money. And it was done in like 2 minutes. So please don't use your debit card. Just get the cash out or use a credit card. And that's how you protect yourself financially while traveling. And the last tip that I can kind of think of that I got for you is, please just keep your drinking at home. Don't get drunk. Don't get drunk out in public. Like, it's easy, men or women, whatever the heck you are, like, just don't drink in public. Like, you can drink a little or whatever at a restaurant or whatnot, but please, like, just don't get drunk. Don't get wasted. It's the fastest way to become a target. Man or woman, they'll rob you and do all sorts of things to you. Plus, at least in Mexico, where I'm at, like, I heard that the police really don't like that. And you're just asking for trouble. The only time I've seen or heard of a tourist in Mexico get into any kind of trouble down here is because they were drunk. They took a nap on the street drunk or something, and the police picked on them and did all sorts of corruption, whatever. Just don't drink outside of your safe space at home. Don't drink, and you should be more than fine and have a wonderful time. Anyway, thank you for listening to me give you all this big sister advice. If you have any questions about safety, money, Airbnbs, Canada, Mexico specifically, and I've traveled throughout the US, but that's where we're from. If you got any questions, like, I'll be more than happy to help you out in the comments. So let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe if you got any help or any advice. I have a lot of travel content that I would love to share with you guys. Yeah, and I hope you'll stick around to see what Asha does next.